Hi, this is the Daf Shevui Shir for Masechet Megillah Daf Lammed. I wanted to go over actually something from the beginning of the page and just note with you how different our minhag is today and how that might make the customs in the Gemara a little bit difficult for us to understand, because some of the problems that they had with their Torah reading, with confusion in their Torah reading back then, we no longer have today. So I wanted to go over this passage and see how that plays out. So the Gemara on the very bottom of Daf Kaf Tet Amud Bet begins. It was stated, Itmar, Chal, meaning it falls, Shabbat Shkalim. And Shabbat Shkalim is the, as we know, is the Shabbat where we read the first, we read about 7 verses. Yeah, 7 verses from Exodus chapter 30, 11 through verse 16. And that is the parsha in Exodus about the giving of the shekel. So that we read on Parshat Shkalim, that's called Parshat Shkalim. So if that special Shabbat, which we've talked about a lot, falls liot be'ota tzatzaveh, in the same week when we read the Parshat Shevui called Tetzaveh, which, by the way, in our period no longer happens, but in the Talmud they had a different division of Parshiot than we seem to have now, and even some of the Rishonim had different divisions of Parshiot, so this was a possibility back then. But that's not the main change I wanted to relate to today. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, Karushita ve'ota tetzaveh. So what should we do? We should first read 6 people to read through the Parshat Shevui Tetzaveh, ad kitisa, until the beginning of Kitisa, which is another parsha today, but also happens to be the beginning of Parshat Shkalim. Vechad Kitisa ad ve'asita. And the next person should read Parshat Shkalim, which is from the verse Kitisa, Exodus 30, verse 11, through the end of it, Ve'asita, which is actually 30:17, is the next verse. So what basically we do is you'd have 6 reading the Parshat Shevui, and the 7th person would read the special reading for Parshat Shkalim. Amar Abai responds, and now we're moving on to the top of Daf Lammed Amud Aleph. Amre okume hu dekam mokme hatam. People will say that that's just the 7th Aliyah, and he's just reading on, because what has he done? He's gone through all of Parshat Tetzaveh, and then he's continued on with the very next Aliyah. Although he may know that that's a special reading, everybody hearing it is going to think that that's just the 7th Aliyah of Parshat Shevui, and they're not going to know that it is a special Shabbat. Ela Amar Abai Karu Shita. First he should read 6 from Ve'ata Tetzaveh, the beginning of Parshat Tetzaveh, ad Ve'asita, until the end of the 6 verses for Shabbat Shkalim, Vechad Tani Vikari, and then a person should go back for the 7th Aliyah, go back and read from Kitisa ad Ve'asita, from the passage of Shkalim, which would be the 7th Aliyah, and this way everybody would know that that is a special reading for Shabbat Shkalim. So you can see here the problem with this is that they're reading something twice. But I should note that the Gemara reflects a shita, which we've talked about, a method that we've talked about before, a halacha, that we have spoken about before, that the maftir is part of the 7 aliyot to the Torah. And we've had that discussion, I believe it was on Daf Kaf Gimel, page 23. Our minhag today is that the maftir is not part of the regular Torah reading, and that there is a kaddish said after the first 7 people read. So we would no longer have this problem. Even if we were to read all of Parshat Tetzaveh, we would have 7 aliyot for Parshat Tetzaveh. We would recite the Kaddish, and then we could go on and read Parshat Shkalim, the next 7 verses, and everybody would know that these are not the continuation of Parshat Tetzaveh. So you can see how our minhag to say the Kaddish and then go on with the maftir prevents all of these problems, makes things much clearer what is part of the Torah reading and what is part of the special readings for whatever Shabbat it might be. That, I think, should help clarify some of the confusion with the rest of the page as well.